And Grand Rising family, and thanks for starting your week with us again. Later, naturopathic and traditional doctor, Dr. A returns to our classroom, and she'll address your medical concerns from both a holistic and a conventional perspectives. Before we hear from Dr. A, though, reparations advocate Cam Howard will update us on the reparations fight. But to get us started this week, financial expert JB Bryan is here. Grand Rising, JB, welcome back to the program.
It is so good to be here. I love both of the topics coming up. All of it, everything. This is going to be a great morning for everybody out there listening. Thank you for everything you do, Carl. It's great to be here.
But JB, we're entering now the final quarter of the year. This is where business folks, this is how businesses they do. They have quarterly reports, and they've already mapped out, for the final quarter, if anything will change over the holidays or if the elections will change anything. And they're basically planning for the first quarter of the year. Do you think this is what us as individuals should do as well?
Definitely. Very good point, because performance tracking is a key word there with why we need to check in at least every quarter. That's a big part of what I do, of just trying to keep investors to stay on top of their money at least every month. But at minimum, every quarter, we should be performance tracking, making sure that you don't go through an entire year of underperforming. And most people don't even understand what underperforming is, and understanding what benchmarks are, and understanding your specific portfolio, your specific goals, your specific investments, your specific budget. Even if you don't have any investments, every month, every quarter, you should be looking at your spending. What are you bringing in? What is going out? Are your credit cards going down? Are they going up? So someone might say, oh, I don't even need to worry about that because I don't have any investments anyway. But the way that we get to the point of investing is by tracking our performance in every capacity of our financial life. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
These corporations, they have accountants, they have a big staff to do all of this, and they're tracking it. Some of them tracking on a weekly and a monthly basis, but they issue their quarterly reports. Now, for us as individuals, what are some of the main things that we should look for in our quarterly reports?
Look at the contributions. If you're constantly, and a lot of people, the majority of your listeners are participating in the financial markets through their payroll check. So if they're constantly putting money in, are you constantly looking at, did my money go in? Where did my money go in? What is the allocation of it? Is this allocation still working for me? And when I say allocation, I mean how the money is divided across your investment options. Big part of what I do, why I developed AfroEconomics, so that while you're working, you're maximizing your investment potential. It was exhausting for me that I would only meet people at the end of their careers. And when I would look at what they did during those 30 years, 35 years, 40 years of working, how I could have changed their life by catching them earlier on. So what are you putting in and where is it going? Every month, really, every paycheck really should make sure that everything is going right, because I have seen major corporations make big mistakes. And I think that we take for granted, because you work for a large institution, that they don't make mistakes. But no, I just got a letter the other day from a major institution apologizing to me for what they did incorrectly in some investments that I had selected, to invest in there. So, and that they had to credit my account back to the point in which the money was supposed to go into those particular subdivisions. So watch your mail. Watch the apologies. I also got a letter the other day. All of this weekend, I got a letter that said that they were sending me money from this major financial institution, and that because of an error that they made, and they owed me money because of some errors that they made, and the regulators were forcing them to pay back. So there's a lot of things that we need to be opening up their statements. There's too many people listening right now who have a whole bunch of envelopes on their kitchen cabinet that they have not opened since July quarter. So it is definitely, and then when you start doing the email and you say, I don't want the paper anymore, it's a bigger way for you to ignore what you have because you don't even need to look at the pack of paper, the stack of envelopes anymore. That's so dangerous when you go to email delivery and you're not checking, you're not actually clicking through and going to look at your statements. Look at the statements no matter what. Make sure you take the time. And that's why I believe that as a registered investment advisory firm and having the regular meetings, if you have a financial advisor and you're not having regular meetings with them, that's a problem. You need to really hold them accountable. And that gives you a visit, just like going to the doctor. If you're meeting regularly with your financial advisor or meeting regularly with yourself, if you're managing it yourself, then it's just like going to a doctor appointment that you set up and then you reschedule with yourself. You reschedule with your financial advisor. My success with the client is so much better than when I talk to them the first time. I go ahead and reschedule for our next visit. If not, it gets lost in the sauce of our very, very busy lives. So definitely look at where your money is going every month. And as simple as that, just the habit of checking in on your money will all of a sudden make you a more intelligent financial manager and investor.
All right. Six out of the top of our family just waking up, and JB Bryan is our guest, and she's a financial advisor. This is the final quarter for the year, the last 3 months.
Yes.
The time to, just get a chance to look at your books. Look what you have done. Are you saving or are you wasting money? But JB, what about the folks who live check to check? There's a lot of folks who really don't have a lot of variables like what you're discussing, not in the stock market or 401k, more month left than check at the end of the 30 days. What do you say to those folks?
Well, there's millions of Americans that are making a lot of money and living month to month. So we got to make that clear. That's why they had to still send out those stimulus checks because people didn't have I'm talking about millions of people did not have $1,200 to get by. So that, even though you're working hard, it is proof that we have to make sure that we're managing our money well. In many cases, I believe that the person who's making more money is generally, what they would call middle class, is more likely to make some of these really costly mistakes of assuming that they'll always have their job. So they'll start extending themselves with unnecessary debt. But on the simplest form, I believe that people who generally know I'm making this amount and this is all that I can spend actually can end up easier for them to have a positive net worth. Now, net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So we can't really assume that just because these people have more than me, that they're not less, that their life is better. Because those who are bankrupt, those who are truly broke, are those who have overextended themselves into debt. So those of you who do lead a simple life, and I've done everything I can to make sure that I mature to a more simple life, own what you have. This is what you have. This is what's coming in, and don't spend any more than that. As a business owner, I've been an entrepreneur since my 20s. I've had this investment firm. You will learn that more of us need to want to be independent. And the key to it is, in my opinion, not getting more and more debt, but learning how to do more with the money that you have, to do more with the time that you have. So we should leverage more of our time and stop allowing the system to encourage us to just leverage money, but we can leverage our intellect, leverage the time that we have to accomplish some amazing things that were done in our community historically. It weren't government grants that were given to the beginning of Black business. So we don't have to go into debt. We don't have to have a lot of stuff in order to see ourselves as successful and to die and leave a substantial legacy. You can by making sure that you reduce the amount of debts that you have and that you begin to live not just within your means, but living a little bit below your means and becoming comfortable with that. That's what I make, that's where I am, and getting in touch with reality, no matter how dominating this materialistic world is, that you will have a healthier, happier, more peaceful life and be able to leave a legacy if we start focusing more within our own family needs.
So basically, you're just telling us that we need to live below our means then.
Yes, less, yes. Live with this is what I'm making and this is what I can afford. Like we have just become comfortable with everything has to be financed. And there's it's generally just become commonplace that everybody finances everything. There are so many people who cannot make it month to month without putting more money on their credit card. That is a key. If you have a credit card balance, it doesn't matter if you're making $100 million a month. If you have a debt balance, then you're living beyond your means. No, and
Well,
I'm saying,
hold that right there, though, JB. I've heard some people say that you should have some kind of debt. Not all debt is bad. And they mention mortgage, and you should have little something debt on your credit card. Is that a wishful thinking? Is that wrong?
But most of them are doing that because they want to be able to borrow more. That's the sad part of it. You're not going to, why do you really have to have the debt? Like, it's a system generated mentality. Like, there are actually huge businesses that have been built without loans. I did not start my business with a loan. I started my business with working. I still own 100% of my business only because I operate the business within the means that I have. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I cannot do. That's okay with me because I want to maintain my ownership. But it depends on where you've decided to be. But I've seen a lot of our businesses go out of business because they start going into unnecessary debt. The same is for our households. Now, there are some things that you may need to do. Say the person has a family and they have 4 kids and it's impossible for them to get an apartment. It's impossible for them to get an apartment to house their 4 kids in them. So they know that they actually are going to need to get a mortgage because it'll be an affordable place for them to live. But people who that can find a more affordable place to live, they don't have to use real estate as their way of only getting ahead. It's an option, but it's not their only way. They could live somewhere, and there's many studies that have done that. You can live in an affordable place that you're renting and actually invest the difference and come out extremely ahead because historically, based on the S&P 500, it has outperformed residential real estate. I don't care what anybody says. So, but that's just fact. So and that's just using the S&P. So imagine if they were a more aggressive investor and had an investment advisor like me who was constantly trying to outperform that for them. So you do not have to go into that, but there are people who take their investment account, get a margin account at the investment firm, and go into debt with their investments because that's where we are mentally. Like that's where we are socially, I should say.
There, JB, we're going to take a short break here, 14 after top. Good Grand Rising family. Thanks for waking up with us and JB Brown. We're talking money this morning. Got a question? Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Your phone calls in 4 minutes right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB. In the DMV, though, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Woo! Small one. Good morning.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program. based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. AfroEconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out AfroEconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly AfroEconomics podcast. There are many levels of AfroEconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out AfroEconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. Hashtag AfroEconomics.
Only on TV One.
Good morning.
MMG Entertainment presents Big Veterans Weekend Holiday Dinner Day Party and Dance
It knows
Saturday,
my
November 9th
name.
at the Elks Lodge in Temple Hill, Maryland. Performing live to the True All-Stars Vanity Show. Plus the ladies of Motown singing Motown hits.
Uh-oh.
The Hardaway Connection Band. Jesse Terrell and Band.
You hear that?
Plus
The commercial.
Show and Calvin Langer. Music by DJ Scooter Bruder. Free dinner is included with a cash ball. That's only a $50 donation. Doors open at 4 p.m. Showtime around 5. All tickets will be sold in advance. No tickets will be sold at the door. Get your advance tickets at Babs Records on Marlboro Pike and Memory Lane Records on Walters Lane in District. Also by Cash App. That's Saturday, November 9th at the Elks Lodge, 7350 Temple Hill.
Hey, Carl. All right. How you feeling, sir? Excellent. Thank you for asking. I think I missed the bus stop while we were on the phone. I could have got off a few steps earlier. And I was like, oh, man. Because normally there's a whole bunch of people that need to get off at this same bus stop. But no, not today. Okay, look. So Voxboro's activated. You ready?
Oh, wait, hold. Okay.
You ready?
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. Voxboro's on again. Go ahead.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Carl Nelson back again, family, and we trust that this has turned out to be another great day for you and yours so far. Join us right here on Tuesday morning, though, when Griot Baba Lumumba from the Moja House in Washington, D.C. returns to our classroom. Baba Lumumba always has some thought-provoking topics for us to discuss. And this time around, Baba Lumumba will analyze if the focus of money is a real impediment to us reaching our freedom. But before Baba Lumumba, Baltimore homeless advocate, Minister Christina Flowers will update us on the situation in her city. But to get us started, former New York lawmaker Charles Barron will report on the legal problems facing New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Remember, all the programs are available from your favorite podcast platform. So for some more compelling conversations that you can participate in, please join us right here on Tuesday morning at 6 on 1010 WOLB, where information is power. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. So for some more compelling conversations that you can participate in, please join us right here on Tuesday morning at 6 on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
All right, got it. Who are we calling at 7? At 6. We're, oh, okay. All right. All right. Cool. Thanks, sir. Have a good day.
About rampant sexual abuse for decades and failed to protect youth inmates in these facilities. If you are housed at a Maryland youth facility at any time and were subjected to any sexual misconduct from staff members, you may be entitled to substantial cash compensation. Call our Maryland Juvenile Detention Helpline now at 800-285-3502. The deadline to file a claim is close. Call now to get the justice, closure, and the financial settlement you deserve. No matter how many decades ago it was, call our law firm's Juvenile Detention Sexual Abuse Helpline right now at 800-285-3502. 800-285-3502. 800-285-3502.
A stroke can be easy to detect. A loved one can't speak. Perhaps they can't move. But there's another sign of a stroke that many of us can't see. It's called spatial neglect, and it can occur during or after a stroke, causing distorted visual movements. Fortunately, there's a solution by using optical prism technology during rehabilitation. If you or a loved one have experienced a stroke, ask your doctor about spatial neglect. Spatial neglect. See the whole picture at KesslerFoundation.org.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
And Grand Rising family, 21 minutes after the top of the hour. Our guest is financial advisor J.B. Bryan. We're talking about money. This is the last day of the third quarter, going into the starting of the fourth quarter. This is when the big companies, they start figuring out for next year. They look at the fourth quarter, and and certain things can change because we got Christmas holidays and we got elections. J.B., let me ask you this first, though. J.B., are you broadcasting online?
Yes.
You usually do when you come on.
Oh, yes, definitely across your favorite social media platform. I'm right there.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
So how do they find you?
Just go to, preferably YouTube. Go to YouTube. Click on Carl Nelson, J.B. Bryan, or J.B. Bryan AfroEconomics, and they can't miss it. You're going to find me. I'm streaming live right now. J.B. Bryan, Carl Nelson. Yeah, so they will find us.
JB, we've got elections coming up next month, national elections, if you will. What impact do you think that when somebody's going to buy something or a big ticket item, should they wait to see who wins the election? Is this a good time to get a mortgage? How do you see that? What kind of advice do you give your clients?
Well, it's a very expensive time to have debt, even a mortgage debt, because even though the Federal Reserve is doing some cuts in interest rates, it still costs a lot. The interest rates are about 3 times what they were a couple of years ago. So as far as your mortgage, long-term 30-year mortgage rate, so it can be expensive. The prices are high, but if it's something that you have to do, just be very careful. Try to work on getting the best purchase price that you can. I believe with real estate and with any investment, even with a car purchase, with a stock purchase, this is a basic rule that holds true. You make money at the price that you purchase it at. So we focus a lot on like how much it costs to finance it, but it's actually how much it costs to buy it. The money is made for them on financing it because you don't have the money to buy it and you want it. That's how the financial institutions, the car dealerships, the government, that's how they make money, by you financing. But you make money by purchasing it at the right price. So if you're purchasing something that for sure I could sell it tomorrow and it's worth more, that's a good investment. That's a good investment. But the challenge is there certain investments that have a lot less liquidity than others. No, so stocks you can sell throughout the day, 9:30 to 4 p.m. Your home, it's a little bit, it's much harder. So, there's definitely things that we need to consider as we make investments. And I think that we do huge purchases without getting advice. And I think that we don't understand what registered investment advisor means. It means that I'm regulated to do what and advise you based on your best interests. And if you are getting your financial advice from the mortgage loan officer, then that's not their job. So you should try to bring yourself into an environment, have someone on your team. And that's why I created AfroEconomics, so that we could start knowing that we're worthy of getting advice that's specifically generated for us. And as with anything that I say, it's generic. I can't give specific advice because I'm licensed, I'm regulated. but I'm regulated to make sure that when you're my client, I'm doing what's in your best interest. So if you're saying, should I buy right now? I get to look at you holistically, not just, oh, this is a high interest rate market, but if you don't have anywhere to live, this is the most affordable decision, regardless of the interest rates. It is what it is. So there, some things are generically the market, but what's most important to you is your specific financial goal. What is relevant for you? So when I say,
all right, let me jump in and ask you this, though, JB. Is there any room for negotiation? Say you see a home, and you kind of like it, and you figure I'm going to make a bid on it. And is there any negotiations on the interest rate? Not so much the price, but the interest rate. Can you negotiate on that, or are those fixed?
No, nothing in life is fixed. I mean, I had a client that was being offered an interest rate that was absolutely outrageous, and he didn't know that it was outrageous. And I said, make sure you tell him that your financial advisor said that you are not going to pay that interest rate, and you need at least 2 points taken off, and you do not want a prepayment penalty. That's out of the question. So you have to be very, very careful. Then he comes back. He comes way down on the interest rate. Like if that's where the money is made. And I did mortgages in my firm for a long time in order to hide my clients from those type of situations, to save the money. And it just became very hard to do both, and keep up with what is my core, my investment advisory business. But now I'm able to, because I did mortgages for so long, I'm able to advise clients in their best interest, that this is what, we have to look at it, but you have to get that third eye. We just have too many situations where it's just us and them, and we still have this mentality that they're doing us a favor by letting us get this loan. They're not doing you a favor. I don't care how bad your credit is. They're not doing you a favor ever. They're making money. So we have to stop.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard, though, JB, to tell someone who whether it be a car or a refrigerator, they really want it, or a house, and you tell them, because the seller's going to make it like he's doing you a favor by allowing you to purchase this item. So how do you turn that mentality around, though?
That's right. And it's just a very good point, because it comes down to our own self-esteem and self-confidence, that you have to get more in touch with your finances. And that's why you should be involved in something like AfroEconomics, because we talk about the reality of your situation. We go into these situations never having looked at our own credit. You don't know. So you need to have someone like JB Bryan who says, your credit's not that bad. I mean, and you would be surprised, Carl, how many clients that they've done that to. And then I go, that is crazy. Do you tell them that you are not going to pay that interest rate? And then all of a sudden they drop the rate. And they get mad at me. Of course, the loan officer gets mad at me. Sometimes the client gets mad at me because they're not accustomed to standing up for themselves. I mean, I've found huge errors, and exploitation, and the client will get mad that I say to the person at the dealership or the loan officer, like, how would you try to exploit this person this much? But it's frightening to me how much money we have wasted. So we're sitting there next door to a person who's smarter financially, paying huge amounts more money for the same house. So, that is so sad. And it happens to us a lot. And then we want to turn it into a racial thing, but it is more of a financial intelligence, self-confidence thing. They are in the business of making money no matter what color the person is. If that person who's green decides that they want to allow that company to take their money and pay 5 points too much, they're going to do it. They don't care. They do not discriminate in their money making.
30 minutes at the top of our family just waking up. Our guest is a financial advisor, JB Bryan. You got a question about money, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. And she's broadcasting all across social media. So do a search and you'll find it and you get a chance to look at JB. JB, credit cards minimum payments have doubled recently. Why?
Credit cards I am surprised at this answer, and great question, because regulation actually, like the people who actually are put there to look out for us said, credit card companies, you have to stop hurting these people. So credit card companies said, okay, I'll stop hurting these people. But in exchange to helping them pay off their debt, we're going to demand more money every month. So in addition to being in a higher interest rate environment, that actual minimum payment required have been increased because like it takes so long for regulations to get through the system. So a regulation that was saying these credit cards balances need to be cleared, they need to come down, was in the system. It was, coming through. And then when it comes through, interest rates are going up at the same time. So it's like a huge boom, like it just shipwreck you. Like of you got to pay more because they were forcing them to look out for you to make sure that it's paid off, because before the minimum payments were so low that it was like you keep telling these people to only pay $15 a month, the card will never be gone, because what the minimums being lower, they want you to have the loan for longer. They want you to have the balance for longer. So regulators said, well, that's a problem. You're exploiting them by making them, well, not making, but suggesting that they only pay this much, because for some people, the minimum is the rule. So they said, you need to make the minimums higher and stop hurting these people. But at the same time, interest rates went up. So they made sure that they made more money because they have to increase the interest rates because the minimum requirement is higher. Isn't that something, Carl?
Well, Jimmy, who is they? Who's making those kind of decisions?
That's our Congress. That's Congress. We have a financial service board, the Consumer Financial Financial Service Bureau. That Elizabeth, she's in Massachusetts, is over. Like the
Elizabeth Warren.
Yes. It's a bureau that she started. So their job is to make sure that we are looked out for as consumers. So the financial service companies said, okay, well, y'all regulation going to make me increase the minimums. So we're going to increase the minimums, but we're going to increase the interest rates as well. And the Federal Reserve is increasing interest rates at the same time. So it seems like it's coming from the Federal Reserve when it's not. You can't get from 2%, say 2% prime all the way up to a 30% credit card. I mean, huge. I mean, really? No, the 30% interest rate was created because that minimum will get you out of being their customer quicker. So they have to make more money on you faster. You get it?
Hold that thought right there. We got to take a quick break. Mm-hmm. And when we come back, though, because the Feds have cut interest rates, some people are not really feeling it. Do you have any idea? And I'll let you respond when we get back.
Okay.
When we'll be able to feel it since these interest rates are being cut? Are we going to see inflation tamp down? After they say inflation is going down, we still see prices climbing. So explain that for us when we get back. Man. You want to join this conversation with JB? And again, you can watch it on all social media platforms. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876 or 26 minutes away from the top of the hour. We'll take your phone calls in 4 minutes right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB. If you're in the DMV, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
I'm JV Bryan, the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. AfroEconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out AfroEconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly AfroEconomics podcast. There are many levels of AfroEconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out afroeconomics.com today. Powered by Bryan Financial Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. Hashtag AfroEconomics.
The Oppressed in League with the Oppressor to learn the entire roadmap to recovery. Now available online at Amazon.com.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-4209. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4209. That's 800-575-4209. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Life moves fast, and you don't want to miss a second of it. Keep up with everything you've got going on by getting vaccinated against flu and COVID-19. By getting vaccinated, you're protecting yourself from severe symptoms and lowering your risk of ending up in the hospital. Stay healthy and be there for whatever comes your way. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
And Grand Rising family, and thanks for starting your week with us. It's the last day of September. Our guest is financial advisor J.B. Bryan. Later this morning, you're going to hear from naturopathic and traditional doctor, Dr. A, and also reparations advocate Cam Howard will be here. And during this week, you'll hear from New York lawmaker Charles Brown, or former New York lawmaker, I should say, Charles Brown. Grill Baba Lumumba will be here, also political blogger Brandon, and Grill Professor James Small. So if you're in Baltimore, make sure your radio's locked in tight on 1010 WOLB. In the DMV, though, on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. All right, before we go to Brother Man 2, my question to you, JB, is when are we going to feel the difference? We're hearing that the federal rates have been cut, interest rates are cut, and more cuts are coming, but inflation is still here. We're still seeing higher prices, or we're seeing the items. What's the term for it? The items are getting smaller. I know there's a new term for that.
True. That's a good point. And I think that the biggest change that we're going to see is that the savings rates that are going to be paid are going to go down first. That's cruel, isn't it? But the actual rate that you're being charged has already kind of adjusted going forward. And I'm seeing a lot of clients approach me about savings rates, and it'll say, such and such, like say, let's just say it's a 5% annual percentage rate. And then they will only allow them in that particular account for 6 months. So the client thinks that they're going to get the 5% annual interest rate. And most of the people listening right now think that they're going to get it, but you're only going to be in it 6 months. So you're not going to get that annual rate for 6 months. So that the banks are already knowing that, you can, they can do things like that, which I feel that it's misleading and should be considered illegal. No, because most consumers don't understand. They assume they're going to get that annual percentage rate. But what they're doing is so if the Fed does come out with another cut, they're not stuck with having to pay you that for a year. So they're turning what looks like a fixed rate into an adjustable for themselves. So we have to get smart in realizing that it's going to adjust down in your favor very, very slowly. I mean, we have credit cards at 29, 30%, 20%. So with a half a rate cut, I mean, really? Do you really think that that's going to help your minimum payment? The only thing that can help you is making a commitment to getting rid of that non-collateralized debt. As you were saying about different types of debt, a credit card, there's no collateral. There's no way for them to collect on it. So the higher the risk, the of not getting anything for this debt, because they can't collect on a credit card. They can't come and take all your shoes back, groceries and things. So that rate is going to always be higher on those things that have no collateral, where your mortgages, it might take 6 months or a year, but they've already factored in this recent rate cut. I already saw like mortgage rates start to slow down as far as their rise. But just watch it closely, especially if you have an adjustable rate mortgage, because you saw how fast it was for them to increase your rate. No, now you have to see, how slow it's going to be for them to bring it down. But the interesting thing about small business loans, generally small business loans are adjustable every 90 days. I found that, I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe when I discovered that about, the SBA loans. They will be volatile every 90 days. So businesses are out there with those loans, then over the last 4 years or so, they've had a larger payment every 90 days for the same debt.
Right. Hold that thought right there. We got some folks want to talk to you. 17 away from the top down, and I mentioned shrinkflation. Thanks, Kevin. That was the word I was looking for. We see now that phrase or that word that they're using now, making items smaller, charging more or the same price. As I mentioned, man, too, is reaching out to us on line 2. Grand Rising, man, too, is calling from New York City. You're on with JB Bryan.
Yes, Grand Rising and Hotel Barigani to all. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. Sister JB,
yes,
how should we, in what you see for the economic forecast, deal with family members who often or sometimes need a loan, etc., which is not always tax write-off? How do we, what's the most financially sound way to deal with those family members who frequently request? And then also, what are the pitfalls and benefits, if any, for co-signing loans for family members?
Yeah.
All right, thank you for what you do. Okay.
I feel your pain. That you really have to avoid those, personal loans as much as possible. And family members, I think, is different than children, and doing something for a child that has grandchildren and things like that. So, it really comes down to who is the family member and the most affordable way to help that person. Because, like, say you have a child that has 3 children, but your home is not big enough, then it's better to help them. But I think it could be better to help them over time. I think a big mistake that I have made is giving money to family members, but they were in no situation to make it right. And then when you do give money to family members or anyone, don't expect it back. I can't even begin to collect probably near 100,000 of what personal money that people should pay me back, but I'm not going to ask for it, because
that's a great. Let me jump in here for a second, JB. That's a great question, man.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize which of family members? Would you loan money to your children, your grandchildren, your cousin?
Well, I don't think we.
Yeah. Removed? Great. How do you prioritize which one you would help?
Take the word loan out of it. Don't expect it back. And if you can't afford
that's for everybody.
Everybody. But the only people that you really should be loaning, giving money to, are people that you help eat. When we go outside of our children and our downline, then it's really outside of the scope of our responsibility. Cousins, uncles, and upline people, that's not your responsibility in God's reality. But it just say, below you, there's people in your legacy that need things. You're giving them basically their legacy up front. If you can. I have a client that if she loans money to one of her children, she changes her beneficiary form and she says they already got it, So, and then So the other ones that didn't borrow, they get a bigger percentage, but it makes sense, But and if they pay her back, she does switch it back. But I don't think that we should expect.
But she tells them up front though that's what she's going to do.
Oh no. They don't know what they're getting and don't know what she has. They don't know that's just her mental justifying giving the money away to one child, but not to another.
Something happens to her and they do the will and all that, and they found out I got zero. Is that explained that you got zero because you got yours up front?
They should know. They should know. You really shouldn't have to explain to them. That you already got $100,000 she's saying to the figure. They already gave them this.
Wow.
Then she's adjusting it for this. But like you said, though, if it's not changed, then that amount is growing, right? Because she got a good financial advisor. So at some point, look, that money that she owes, she will have made back. That's the bad thing about that strategy. That's what you're thinking about. Like, what if it grows by more than what that person actually got? But they took theirs up front. They took it. You could look at that biblically as well when it says, when the descendant.
That's some great advice because I think we've all been there with family members who hit us up occasionally who need help.
Yes,
and you can offer help, but and some like you said, you don't consider it a loan. It's gone.
It's gone. That's right. Yeah, and if they want, the reason they pay you back is because they want that door open again. So I like it as far as like the upline and the outside line, it's that it's because it closes the door. They just know you ain't even paying me back what I gave you.
That's only good for immediate families, JB, not cousins, second cousins, step brothers,
don't
aunties and all that. Just
don't do it. I really don't do it. But it's hard to say. It's really hard because, like you said, we've all made that mistake. But I want your life to be better than mine. So I would tell you, limit what you loan because they're not going to pay you back. Now, you can still get it in writing. And if you're willing to sue them, I'm not willing to sue a family member. I've been in many situations where I could have sued family members. I know I'm not going to do it. Then don't put yourself in this situation. Filling out the paper is ridiculous. So, because if you're not going to exercise it, but there are people, I know that is a shortfall on my part. Now, if you're the type of person who will actually exercise that, go to that court, get that judgment, get your money, but look at what it's going to do to the family. No, so if it's a cousin, and then on Thanksgiving, because that's your mom's brother's child, right. All of this or whatever, it's just not good. So it's like you just cut it. If you can give something, give it. If you can't, you can't. If you know that your children are straight and stuff, but if you're the one that's going to be required, you cannot give all your emergency fund to someone outside of your legacy. Then, that's
All right,
a huge
gotcha.
mistake.
All right, hold up to right there. 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. Ron is calling us from North Carolina. Has a question for you. He's on line 3. Grand Rising, Ron. You're on with JB Bryan.
Grand Rising, call. Grand Rising, JB.
Hey, I'm from North Carolina. Did y'all know that I'm from North Carolina?
Yeah, I heard you say that before. I guess you're from Vanceboro.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
How did you know that? How did you know that? That's where my dad, no, I'm not. That's where my dad is, but they were down there. My parents met in North Carolina. Yeah, but that's true. What you know about Vanceboro? Great, but I am from North Carolina.
From up the road.
Really?
I'm originally from up the road in Greenville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. So here's my quick questions. Can you explain the concept of purchasing points on the mortgage when you're trying to get a mortgage? And also, as far as selling stock, I heard a strategy. Someone mentioned that when you buy a stock and once it's double the purchase price that you purchase it, like you purchase a stock for $25, and then like if it go to $50, then you sell off $25 of it, and then you keep your original, and then once it keeps doubling, you keep selling off whatever doubles. So can you explain if that's a good strategy? And I'll take off the air. Thank you.
Yeah. So the buying points, is a strategy to try to lower the interest rates, and it comes into play a lot of times with a refinance, because the buyer or the person with the home will not feel that they're actually losing money because they're spending their equity to do it. So, one time I had a client that really wanted a 2% interest rate. So you can get whatever rate you want. So they're giving you can use your equity to buy points to bring down their interest rate. So that when I explained that to her, that you're spending $10,000.
Well, give us an example of how that works, JB. Give us an example of how that works.
So you was spending like $10,000 of her equity to buy the points to get down from 3.5% to 2%. So it was like, do you realize that you're spending your equity in order to do this? Because they would say, no closing cost. They would say, that it's not costing you. So, but it is costing you because it's increasing the loan amount. So you owed $200,000, and then you decided to refinance because you wanted a lower interest rate, and refinancing cost you $20,000. So now your loan amount went from $200,000 to $220,000. And it will take you a long time to just pay off that $20,000 that you used, that additional, she had to have enough equity. She had to have at least that $20,000 plus some in order to be able to do the loan successfully. So because she didn't have to come to the table with any money, she didn't realize that those points cost her, say, $5,000. So when they put it on the loan deal, it'll say points and it'll say 5,000, and the 5,000 extra, that's money coming from, that took her from 215 to 220 in the loan amount on the new loan. So now you have this new loan.
But her payment's lower.
But her payment is lower because she now had only 10 years left on that old loan. Now she's got 30 years ahead of her again. On 220.
Right there, JB. I'll let you respond to Ron's second question when we get back. We got to take a short break. We're 6 minutes away from the top of the hour with financial advisor JB Bryan. She's broadcasting across all social media. Just do a search for her and you'll see her lovely face there. And reach out to us when we get back. It's in 4 minutes right here in Baltimore on 1010 WLB, and also on the DMV on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Correct.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program. based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. AfroEconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out AfroEconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly AfroEconomics podcast. There are many levels of AfroEconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out AfroEconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. Hashtag AfroEconomics.
Free from stigma, misperceptions,
Ms.
and
Branch,
and we
that is definitely something I help clients with AfroEconomics. You know, Ms. Pettit's question is it worth it to do credit repair building to get an accurate info off and make disputes? What would I recommend? And AfroEconomics is only $30 a month. All those other credit repair things that do absolutely nothing, you know, with the bulk of it, I show you how to do it together yourself. It would be the best spent $30 a month that you'd ever spend with $300 a year. But you decide what it is that we need to focus on. If you want to focus on credit repair, we focus on credit repair. If you want to focus on investments, we focus on the investments. But we focus on what is the challenge for you in your life at that time. But, you know, definitely go to afroeconomics.com and and sign up. And there's the minimal setup fee because I do a secure portal so that we can do things electronically. All of that is included in the setup. So it's $230 and then just $30 a month thereafter, or just pay for the year. But the $200 is never paid again. So and then as your assets grow, or a client with 100,000 or more, their membership is complimentary. We work on all of their financial goals. So if there's something that is out of the scope of what we can accomplish together, and then I will suggest where we should go and who we should get involved on our team. But you know, a lot of things that we can accomplish on our own. Yeah, good question. And you know that, hope you heard what I was saying. Great.
Big tech social media billionaires have allowed their platforms
My
to roll
goodness.
back truth, facts, and tolerance.
It is raining in Virginia.
With lies and hate. Online disinformation and hate affect
Nope.
everything, everyone, everywhere. It splits us apart, hurts our children.
Y'all got to remind me what Carl told me to talk about on the way out. On the way, when I come back, he told me something. What was it? What was it, y'all?
Be a part of the change. Help defend the future of our democracy. Go to counterhate.com to learn more.
Oh, that's so good.
Though Phi no longer
That's
drives,
right.
he can still fly down the track. Staying fit helps Phi stay flexible in his ongoing fight with retinitis pigmentosa, a blinding retinal
Whoa.
disease. But even when the way
Yeah,
forward
we're
is
going
hard
to take
to
care of
see,
that.
Phi is always hopeful because he knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
So when I came into the studio on the way here, Carl was driving, right? And my keys went, Paul, and my keys went, swoop, and they flew. I didn't tell you when I got here because so my child went out of town and she has my spare set of keys. So I had the spare, but she has my real set of keys by mistake because she went to the mailbox and it requires a key. So she got the key, she kept my keys and went out of town. So I'm using my spare car key. I'm driving down the street. They fly somewhere. I cannot find my keys. Somebody could go out there right now and push the button and start my car and drive off.
WKYS HD3 Washington. Washington, WPRS HD3 Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com. The views and opinions
That's
of the
funny.
following show do not necessarily reflect
Always
the views and
something, y'all.
opinions of
Keep
News
going,
Talk
keep
1450
going, keep going.
WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
The most
Carl
ultimate.
Nelson Show.
The most
All right,
ultimate.
let's go.
We're rocking with most ultimate Carl Nelson. That's right.
Keep rocking.
That's right. That's right.
And Grand Rising family, and welcome to Monday. Thank you for starting your week with us. This is JB Bryan. On deck, we got Brother Cam Howard waiting to get started by reparations. But let's wrap up with JB. And JB, by the way, is broadcasting across all social media family. JB, Ron's last question about stocks, his strategy for selling stocks.
Yeah, that can't hold true, but it could be his. Like that can't be for all of us, but it could be his. Reinvesting, dollar cost averaging over the long term, like focusing on it. He was referring to like when you get a particular price to sell, that doesn't have to hold true. I love to talk to clients about any transaction unless they have told me to put in an order to sell at a particular price. If their position has become too big, too heavily weighted into one stock, to this one area or something like that, then that would be something that we plan out. And when it gets to this particular price, I can sell it off automatically, allowing the computer to help us. But it does that could be his rule. Easily could be his rule, because sometimes people just hold on too much. And for too long, and then end up having a whole portfolio of mostly one stock. But I would say to my friend in North Carolina, that focus more on, assessing things, making sure that you have a sales strategy as well. Because we're all, it's easy to bet on the most positive, but learning to let go when something is underperforming or not doing what you need, that I can help you with that, or set up your own strategy for that. If it gets this, then what are you going to do if it gets to this? Does it have to stay there for a particular time period? Or do you need to have a standing order to sell if it hits that low? But I think that everybody should have, some rules, especially if they're doing it alone. But if they're doing it with their advisor, we both need to know what's important to you and where you're headed, where you want to go.
All right.
Thank
you.
JB,
before we let you go, how can folks reach you? Are you going to still be broadcasting? Will you still take some phone calls for the folks online?
No, because everybody wants to listen to you. But I'll just be here for a few minutes, and then you go to
just a
Carl.
few minutes, because some people probably
Okay.
got questions, money questions as well.
Fantastic. I appreciate
how can they reach afterwards? How can they reach you?
AfroEconomics.com, JBBRYAN.com. And please keep in touch. I have a free membership, completely complimentary, that is called No Excuses, so that we can work together. No excuses. Yes, and thank you so much, JB. Carl. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That's JB Bryan from AfroEconomics. And again, she's going to be there for a few more minutes. You got questions, money questions. Some folks don't like to put their business on the radio. You can talk to her personally online. Anyway, it's 3 after the top there. Grand Rising, Cam Howard, welcome back to the program.
I'm right here for a second, as I promised, Carl. I'm right here. If you need me, I'm going to put my email in this recording so that we have it. It's for you. Indeed. Look at this. Thank you, Ms. Brands. Thank you, Queen Howard. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Thank you even to those of you. I see you, but you're just a number. But definitely, let me know if I can help in any way. I appreciate you all more than you know, more than you could possibly know. And then, let me see. Let's see what I have. I have something for you.
And the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. AfroEconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out AfroEconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my...
Those are pictures from the AfroEconomics Fest. Isn't it? It's like, I've never watched it without sound, but without the sound in it. But that is the part, that was at least a part of it that I wanted to share, but I couldn't hear if you could hear it. So I just shared that little bit. Thank you so much. Thank you. Email me at jb@jbbryan.com. Let me share it here. Oh, you're gonna wait to see somebody ask a question. Everybody, they're not asking no question. I'm gonna run outside, make sure my car's still there. That was crazy. My car key just flew across the car. I looked under every seat. I looked under everything. But watch me go out there, either be locked out. I've decided that if I'm locked out, because it auto locked me the other day. I don't know. It auto locked out just like that. I'm just gonna Uber to the office and wait for my daughter to get back in town today, because I'm not calling those people again. Good morning, right back at you, Miss Davis. Yeah, Miss Davis, smart. Look, I ain't even gonna tell you what happened. I don't know if you heard what I just said. That happened with the key, the one key. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Davis helped me think it through that my child must have the lock, because I was like, who touched my other key? I tell you, y'all the best. Thank you. I needed that.